What's up, guys? Team Blind MST here. For some reason you guys wanted to see an update on this video, go for it.
Hey guys, it's John here with my Gravekeepers. I kind of took a break from Yu-Gi-Oh! Mostly because I was out of the country for about a month, so I didn't really have a chance to work on this and get it updated for you guys, but I was playing around with it, and this is a build that I feel comfortable with. This is probably going to be, or at least very close to, the final build for Nationals. So, well, here it is. 3 spies, obviously, because she's just the speed in the deck.
The boy.
Well, you know.
Don't let him trick you.
3 recruiters, because just with all the destruction, you just need a search, obviously. 3 Commandant. I know some people like to run 2, but with this current format, you really need to get to Necrovalley, and at the worst case scenario, he's a 2100 beat stick. Whenever he's in my hand, I almost always use him just to thin out the deck, if nothing else, and just get that extra Necrovalley in the hand. Then I'm running 1 Descendant, because he's kind of been semi-replaced, 1 Assailant, because Bujins are still a real threat, and 1 Heretic, because he just puts in work against Rogue, and he puts in a ton of work against the hands. You attack over a fire hand, he can't be popped, they don't get the special summon, it's really good. And then I'm running 1 Thunder King, and
That
ulti, and 2 of each of the hands. I'm not running 3 because 3 is just too much.
In archetypes, at least.
In archetypes, yeah. We're gonna do another video about specifically the hands and like everything that came out of Dragon's Legend, but in archetype decks, I feel like 2 and 2 is just a good number. That's why if they're going to hit these cards, they have to hit them more than 2, or else it won't really impact anything other than hat. But the hands are actually really nice in this deck, because when you're playing, people know you're playing Gravekeepers, they always assume that you're setting like a spy. So if they waste a destruction effect like a Dark Hole or like a Bear Pop or something on a hand, and they don't see it coming, they just really get blindsided by it, and because of all the rank 4 plays, it just lets you generate a lot of advantage. It's also really good against the hands. You can, if you're clever, you make the other hands miss timing. You use I can use my ice hands to go into beefy Abyss Dwellers. Which is good. It's a really good addition. This card kind of ruined the meta, but it's just a very versatile card. Both of these are just they're just too, I don't know. They're just very strong. It wouldn't make sense not to run them. Like, unfortunately. 3 Necrovalley, of course. It's bread and butter of the deck. 2 Stele. Crazy reoccurrence.
Is that still as good with the 4 hands in there?
Yes, it is, because basically what happened was from my old build, I took out 1 Descendant because I was adding 2 fire hands, so I figured the 2 fire hands would make up for the 1 Descendant. I took out the 2 Cyber Ends, and I took out maybe 1 spell or trap. So the monster counts as far as Gravekeepers is pretty much the same, and you never really run into this card when you don't have at least 1 in the grave, between like pitching Commandants. Just every time once 1 recruiter goes to the grave, it's pretty much live. This is like the best recovery card mid to late game too, because a lot of times people will burn through, like, you can be a lot more aggressive and know that you still have, oh, there's a spy in the grave. Worst case scenario, I can stell that spy back, stell that recruiter or that Commandant back, put a Necrovalley and a spy on board when people assume that I'm out of resources. It's just really good. 1 Rai-oh Tribute, because it's Rai-oh Tribute. It's at 1 for some stupid reason. People complain about this card. They say it needs to be banned, but they always compare it to instant win conditions. Like, they say, oh, well, 6 Sam Gateway was at 1 for forever, and then it randomly got banned. But it's not the same. It's not the same at all, because if 6 Sams open with Gateway, they go off. They just sack you. Okay, yeah, that's their win condition. If they draw Gateway midway through the game and they have any type of monster like available to them, they still go off. If I draw Rai-oh Tribute halfway through a game, it's kind of useless. Like, at most, I'm just going to use it just to see what's in your hand, even if you even have a hand. So, like, it's not just a win condition in all circumstances, like those cards that other people are complaining about, or were complaining about, and are comparing this to, like Gateway. Dark Hole, because I like to just clear armors, clear things, clear hands before I put things on the board. Book of Moon, because it's the best -1 in the game. And 2 MST. I'm only running 2 MST right now. I side the 3rd. This is mostly because I'm running, well, as you'll see in a second, 3 Wiretap now. So I feel like 3 MST and 3 Wiretap is just kind of overkill, because then I'll just end up MSTing something, or I'll just end up sitting. You only need 2 main deck right now if you main that many wiretaps. Under the traps, I run 3 wiretaps because the free 7 tools is kind of ridiculous. It stops gear. It stops Theosophy. It stops any trap. I can be a lot more aggressive. Like I said, this is a much more, even though the hands. Basically what I'm using is, the smartest way I feel to use the hands outside of hat tricks is you use the hands to make really defensive plays. You use the hands to force your opponent to expend resources, and then you use your chosen archetype to be really aggressive. And I know our Gravekeepers aren't normally an aggressive archetype, but they can make aggressive plays, and because they have a control aspect to them, which is basically their field spell, their spy plays, with Wiretap, whenever I have the cards to be aggressive, I don't have fear anymore, and I can just make big pushes for game, make big pushes for board control.
I feel that way about Wiretap too, honestly. When you have it set and it's live, you really aren't afraid to try to make a play. Even if your opponent might even have the other Wiretap, but that's just something you take into account. You're still not afraid to make that play to win.
Right, absolutely. And especially since I run 2 Tomb, you definitely don't need 3 Tomb now. I can save this for spell cards. I don't have to rely on this to stop my opponent's counter traps anymore because Wiretap's a thing. So now I can be even more aggressive, and I don't have to waste these. Because before I would sometimes have to waste this on a D prison or something just so that I could keep control of the game and not lose things. Or
D-prison that recruiter.
Yeah. D-prison and bottomlessing recruiters and descendants, I would have to use these all the fucking time. But now I have Wiretap for that, so I can save these for monster effects and spells. I run 2 D-prison because it's just better right now. It's really good against the hands. I feel like last format Mirror Force was a much better card. Well, at least for my deck. However, formats change. You need to adapt. D-prison's definitely better. I don't know anybody. Some people say that battle traps are dead, but it's still a really good out to things. A lot of times Bujin players will just drop a Kagasuchi, or it's an out to the tanks. It's a great out to the hands. I run 3 chains. I know that Breakthrough Skill is a better card, but you need to stop and think just because it's a better card doesn't mean it works better in your deck. A lot of times I have a spy set or a recruiter set. Sometimes I just want to make rank 4 plays. Sometimes I want to summon that Gravekeeper monster on my turn and not on your turn, so I have to stop and attack. Also, you have to remember that in Gravekeepers, can't banish cards from the graveyard, so Breakthrough Skills, while it's still live on the field, I don't get its secondary effect, which greatly diminishes its value in a deck. So Fiendish Chain I still feel is way better in Gravekeepers, and 3 Fiendish Chains is just disgusting because I don't main deck Veiler. I feel like if you don't main deck Veiler, you have to run at least 3 of some combination of Breakthrough Skill and Fiendish Chain if you really truly want to be competitive. I know in a lot of my other decks I like to run 2 and 2, so that's that. And then I run a Bottomless, a Torrential, and a Solemn. I cut Compulse, unfortunately, because I just didn't have room. It was basically between Compulse or Thunder King, and because I run the hands now, I have a lot of really defensive monsters. I have a lot of set monsters, and like I said, I want to be able to be more aggressive with those wiretaps, be more aggressive when I have tombs. So I wanted something that I could put in attack and just poke with, and just slowly grind people down, and I felt that Thunder King was just overall better than Compulse, because Compulse isn't really going to do much against the decks that I have issues with, hat tricks. It'll stall them for a turn, but they'll just set the monster. It was really good when my biggest issues were Draco Stack or those big extra deck plays, but that's not so much the issue anymore. So I feel like Thunder King is better in my deck than Compulse. So that's it for the main deck. On to the extra deck. I run 2 Silent Honors because they summon something. A lot of extra deck monsters don't have 2,500 attack, well, more than 2,500 attack, so they attack into a spy. Not usually thinking oh, I'm not going to attack over the set 4-star monster. Go into 101 next turn, steal it. I mean, it's pretty self-explanatory. It's just a really good card. It's one of the best cards in the extra deck right now. Exiton Knight, self-explanatory, just clears boards. 2 Abyss Dwellers. I really like. This is one of the best cards right now too. Just shits on everything the hands do. It stops a lot of decks. It stops Mermails, even though I haven't really seen too much of them. It stops Sylvans. Their effects don't go off if they can't activate when they're excavated. It's just really good. Plus, because I'm running 2 ice hands, a lot of times I'll have a 2,200 attack Abyss Dweller that just sits there and puts in work. Ragna Zero, because this card's absolutely disgusting. It's disgusting in the mirror. It's disgusting against anything that runs Tenki. It shits on Madolches when their field spells up. Noble Knights, if they don't have depending on what the combination of things they have equipped, it can also be used against them. It's a really good card. Heartland Draco, because those 2,000 pokes are no joke, and I kind of create a soft block if I have Necrovalley up and any back row to really protect him or Necrovalley. Gaia Cowboy, because Cowboy for game. Photon Papilloperative, because sometimes I don't want to just attack blindly into a face down. If it's a hand, I want to know which hand it is before I kill it so I can plan accordingly. Maybe I need to MSC my own Necrovalley so that they can't go off and then activate another one to just keep control of the game. Like, sometimes you have to go negative to win games. Like, Photon Papilloperative is just, it's situational. I barely ever go into it, but usually when I do go into it, it wins the game that I went into it. Diamond Dyer, because sometimes you just need to pop a card. Black Ship of Corn. It's good against the hands. It's good against a lot of things that can't be destroyed. Mastroke, because this is also kind of good against the hands in some circumstances. Fire Hand can't pop them. Their effect doesn't go off. Sometimes you just need a tank. Sometimes you need to put things face down. Master Key Beetle. Protect Necrovalley. Protect some things that I have in my side deck. It's just... There's a couple of soft blocks you can do with him. Last time I played Hat Tricks with this deck, I put an Abyss Dweller up, and then I had a Master Key Beetle and an Abyss Dweller, and as soon as that resolved, he scooped. And then I run for 3s, a Levier, and an Alu card. I didn't used to run 3s, but now that I don't run the Malefic's Mate anymore, I have 2 extra spots, and Levier is pretty much just because Deep Prisons and Bottomlesses are so devastating to me if they hit the right thing at the right time, that it has actually come in handy where I'll bring back like a Descendant and like start to pop something. Levier it's useful. And then Alucard, obviously just a pop a face down card, face down back row, face down monster. Very rarely do I ever go into 3s, but the opportunity does present itself, and I do have a little bit of space. So they're just the best situational rank 3s. And then onto the side deck, 3rd MST, 2 deck devs, because the decks that you would side this in against, you instantly beat.
Don't hit those ice hands.
Yeah, don't hit those hands, though, because they still go off for some stupid reason.
Fire hand can't be hit.
2 Blackhorns, just really good. Wanted to think about main decking it, but I just run too many monsters right now. If the hands get hit, I'm probably going to keep this deck exactly the same, except I'm going to put in 2 Blackhorns and, I don't know, maybe the Compulse back and something else. Might actually main deck this. Mind Control, this card is amazing right now.
It's really dumb.
It's so good. I don't know why people don't run it. I really, really want to main deck it, honestly. You just take your opponent's hand, you take your opponent's anything, and if it's level 4, I'm overlaying with it. And your monster just got eaten, effectively.
What level 3s do people set in all actuality?
Exactly. 2 Fossil Dyna, because I'm still scared that I'm going to run into the random Heretic or just some bullshit dragon deck, and Fossil Dyna puts a stop to that. 2 Light Imprisoning Mirrors, because of the Bujins, because if I ever run into pure artifacts, Heretics, I guess, the random Constellars walking around. Constellar Artifacts should be a lot better. I feel like if better players started playing it, that they would make that deck really good. So once that whole Hat Tricks phase dies down, might want to keep an eye on Constellar Artifacts. I run 1 Shaman, because if I put her on board and put a Master Key Beetle on her, the hands, Hat Tricks, Madolche, Mermails, Sylvans, a lot of things just instantly scoop to this with no way to get over it. I run a 2nd Heretic, because again, against the hands, the Fire Hand can't go off on him, Moral Tot can't pop him. He's strong, he's pretty beefy. He's also good against a lot of other matchups, but very specifically, I put him in the side deck for that hand matchup. The first time I ever played against that in a tournament, Heretic put in too much work, and I realized, man, I really wish I had 2 of these to beat the fuck out of him with.
What do you take out when you side in Heretic?
Assailant. I take out Assailant for Heretic, and for Shaman, it depends on the matchup. Sometimes it's a Thunder King. It's usually either a Thunder King or an Assailant.
Okay, so Assailant's usually you're out.
Assailant is, because she's a really good main deck card.
Right.
She really catches people off guard. There's that 2,000 poke. She's a rank 4, but in a lot of circumstances, Heretic may be better, but I still want the option to go into her in case I need her.
I feel, yeah. It's a good one.
Macro and Defissure, and then Soul Drain to round out the...
No Vanities?
No Vanities. Vanities Emptiness is probably one of the best cards this format, but it's one of those things where if I was going to side any deck I would side in Vanities against, I would almost rather side in Blackhorn. I don't feel that Vanities is the best side deck card in this deck. I feel in a lot of other decks it's a very good side deck card, but I feel it's a very strong main deck card. And honestly, there's nothing that I would want to take out of the main to make room for vanities. Like I said, if when those hands get hit, I might just replace those 2 hands with 2 vanities and 2 blackhorns, and then that'd be absolutely disgusting. I'm probably actually going to try that build along with this one at locals and see which one I like, because I'd rather not taint my unstoppable Gravekeepers with the filthy hands. But
hell yeah, bro. Hashtag respect.
I feel
like that vanities is a little better against like something like Saki Dragon Rulers than the Fossil Dino.
Well,
kind of.
I'm just
because you can make the Master Key Beetle hard lock, and that's
you're right. But I'm a little old school, and I got a hard on for Fossil Dino still, and just I've always had mad respect for that card. So
fair enough. All right, there you go, guys. There's that.
All right, well, thanks for watching. I'll be sure to update it again right before Nationals and give you guys my final build. So, see ya.